Office of the State Council Information Office. As you have learned, yesterday the CPC Central Committee and the State Council released the opinions on promoting the development of the private economy. In order to help all of you better understand these working opinions, we have invited a number of government officials to give you more information. Chunlin, Vice Chairman of National Development and Reform Commission, Xiaolan, Vice Minister of Industry and Information Technology, and An Lijia, Vice Chairman of All China Federation of Industry and Commerce. May I first give the floor to Chunlin. Dear friends from the media, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be joined with Minister Xu and Vice Chairman An in this conference. Yesterday, CPC Central Committee and the State Council issued the opinions on promoting the private sector. I want to take this opportunity today to give you an introduction about the background of this working opinion. For a very long time, the private sector has played a very important role in stabilizing growth, driving innovation, and increasing employment. It has already become one very important pillar of China's economy, and also one very important driving force for sustained economic development. CPC Central Committee and the State Council pay great attention to the private sector, and this working opinion showcases the high level of attention paid by CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core. It will play a very important role in boosting the private economy. We believe the private sector plays a very important role, and boosting the private sector is of great significance to achieving the Chinese path to modernization. Our modernization is one that is characterized by a huge population. 90% of the jobs are provided by the private sector, and 90% of the market entities are private enterprises. The private sector has boosted the human nature symbiosis and sustainable social and economic development. Against the challenging external conditions, the private sector has been a stabilizer, and they have helped boost the China's economy. And they are also one integral part of high-quality development. For China to become a strong socialist country and to achieve the second centenary goal, we have to rely on the private sector. In recent years, a number of policies have been released to optimize the business environment, to boost the private sector, and also to strengthen the united front work for the benefit of the private economy. A number of policy measures have been rolled out with satisfactory results. But for some time, the environment for the private economy is changing, and many private enterprises have encountered numerous problems, and it is urgent that we roll out a number of policies to scale up best practices so as to boost the high-quality development of the private economy. Since 2020, the CPC Central Committee has made a number of new judgments and new requirements for the private sector. The report delivered to the Chinese Party Congress said that we need to take every measure to safeguard and protect the rights of private entrepreneurs. Yesterday's working opinion covers 31 specific measures, and this shows that the CPC Central Committee and the State Council are unswervingly committed to boosting the private economy. We have to learn these 31 measures and make sure that they are put on the ground, grasp the direction of development, make sure that these policies are executed in reality. I believe that with the efforts from all sides, we can expect a much brighter future for the private sector. So this is my opening remarks, and I'm willing to join Mr. An Lijia and Madam Xiaolan to answer any questions that you might have. All right, now the floor is open for questions. Please identify yourself before asking the question. Thank you very much. I'm with the paper. For a very long time, there has been limitations in market entry, and there are market entry barriers. What are the measures that we have in place to eliminate those market entry limitations and barriers? Thank you very much for your question. And you touched upon one very important issue. Some of the private entities, they say that there are unreasonable limitations and barriers in project bidding and the market entry. And this is affecting the business environment of the locality and also affecting the construction of a uniform market domestically. It is also undermining the healthy development of the private sector. To solve this problem, the working opinion released yesterday put forward some specific measures. The first is to eliminate barriers for market entry. We do not allow for registration, verification, or requirements such as setting up a subsidiary. We do not allow for any barriers artificially put in place to bar the entry of private enterprise into the market. We also request to put in place a complaint submission mechanism. In the meantime, we made it mandatory that all the enterprises must be taken as equals, and we also need to step up with law enforcement in anti-monopoly. We do not support the licensing of special franchisee right. On a regular basis, we would roll out an active list for market regulations. Policies that hamper fair competition would be rolled out on a regular basis. And we will also scale up the credibility and commitment system. And this mechanism will be leveraged so as to increase the benefit of private enterprises. And we also put in place a credibility and rectification mechanism, and a punishment method would be put in place to punish enterprises that are not engaging in business in a credible manner, and also improve the market-based system. We encourage the private sector to revitalize their inventory assets and also improve the brokerage law for enterprises so as to reduce their operational costs. In order to implement these measures, the NDRC will strengthen our work in related fields. For example, in boosting the domestic uniform market, we're going to streamline all the policy measures for market entry and exit, for construction and engineering projects. For project bidding, we are going to carry out special investigations and inspections. For example, in market entry, we are going to introduce a new version of an active list. And we will also publicize typical cases in violation to the active list. For example, in the project bidding process, we are going to improve the systems so as to promote fair competition. Through substantial measures, we aim at creating a much better environment for the private sector. Thank you very much. Next question, please. I'm with Restore News. The opinion said that we're going to continue optimizing the business environment of the private sector. Small and medium-sized enterprises, they are one integral part of the China's economy. What measures do we have to support the development of SMEs? Well, thank you very much for your question. As you have mentioned, the private sector and the SMEs, the both integral parts. More than 90% of the private enterprises are SMEs, and more than 90% of the SMEs, the private enterprises as well. According to President Xi Jinping, SMEs, the one very important driving force in expanding jobs and improving people's livelihood. We have to create a good environment for SMEs, and we need to step up with more support for SMEs and MMEs. The Ministry of Information and the Industry will follow through the important decisions made by the CPC Central Committee and the State Council. We're going to coordinate the efforts between different provinces and engage in the following. Number one, improve our legal environment. Put on the ground the SME support law. The SME support law will celebrate its 20th anniversary this year. We are also going to roll out some supplementary regulations. Already, more than 20 provinces have rolled out their own local regulations for the support of SMEs. Second, we're going to improve our policy environment. A number of policies and measures have been rolled out to stabilize and strengthen SMEs and MMEs. And last year alone, there were more than 40 measures rolled out at the national level. And at the provincial level, we have more than 270 measures issued for the benefit of small and medium-sized enterprises. In the meantime, we put in place an accountability system so that the SMEs can truly benefit from these policies. And third, we aim at to improve our environment for innovation. Some special campaigns have been rolled out to improve the core competitiveness of SMEs. We have set up some demonstration zones for MMEs and industrial clusters, and these are platforms for innovation which can gather resources for innovation. We also improved the cultivation system for SMEs. And number four, constantly improve our financing system. We encourage the banking sector and the financial industry to increase their credit support for SMEs. Some new models have been rolled out to support inclusive finance by focusing on key industries. We have different policies at different industries so that those SMEs they can truly benefit from those favorable financing support schemes. We also leveraged the National Fund for SMEs to encourage more SMEs to engage in the field of innovation. And number five, we have improved and optimized our service system. The four-layer service system encompassing the national level, provincial level, city and county level has been rolled out, benefiting more than 1,000 enterprises with better public services. So this social service system has benefited more than 7 million private enterprises. In order to improve the environment for SMEs and MMEs, the Ministry of Information and Industry has, since 2019, regularly engaged in third-party investigation over the business environment of SMEs and MMEs. We have covered more than 300 cities in China, and those investigations have provided very favorable and constructive feedbacks to the job that we do. Going forward, we're going to further consolidate these 5 areas of efforts, we're going to improve our public service, build a sound, legal, and innovative environment so as to create a enabling environment for small and medium-sized enterprises. Thank you very much. Next question, please. I'm with CNBC. What are the substantial measures you have to boost the confidence of the private sector? Thank you very much. Let me answer your question. Thank you very much for your question. The core purpose of the working opinion is to enhance the confidence of private enterprises. Apart from improving the business environment, the document issued yesterday also touched upon building a favorable publicity environment for these enterprises. For example, we made it specific that we are going to coordinate policies and measures to respond to the needs of enterprises. We're also going to improve the policy response method, and we also will regularly prevent and solve receivables issues related to receivables not collected. In the meantime, we are going to smooth the channel of professional certifications for the private enterprises. At the same time, policy coordination and guidance would be further enhanced. In policy formulation and standards making, we're going to bring on board the participation of entrepreneurs. For example, in building a social atmosphere favorable for private enterprises, we're going to let the whole society understand the important role played by the private sector. We're going to create a public environment that enables the private enterprises to be innovative and to be respected. Those negative publicity campaigns would be cracked down. And we also support the private sector to shoulder up more social responsibilities, and they are encouraged to become contributors in a new era and to become real doers in this new era. And we also would shape the image of private enterprises of complying with social order and contributing to social and economic development. The NDRC will roll out some policies. Number one, some specific measures will be introduced. And number two, some policy documents for boosting the confidence of private enterprises will be issued. So these two documents, they will be released in the near term. So this will be part of the 1+N policy framework. Through a number of policies and through efforts at multiple fronts, we are going to truly translate the policy into real actions. Thank you very much. Next question, please. I'm with the front page news. The private sector is one integral part of the China's economy. The All-China Federation of Industry and Commerce, what proposals do you have to boost the private sector? Thank you very much for your question. It is very important that they have every confidence to further develop their own business and the China's economy. And confidence was a key word last year. And this year, during the two sessions when President Xi Jinping attended one seminar of the All-China Federation of Industry and Commerce, he specifically talked about boosting the confidence of private entrepreneurs. According to the document released yesterday, it was mentioned that we have to take substantial measures to stabilize and boost the confidence of private entrepreneurs. And this year, we are going to regard this as one of our key priorities. And we will take earnest measures to expand the private sector. Number one, offer more guidance so that the private enterprises will have a positive understanding about the China's economy. They will have their confidence boosted, and they will remember where we started and where we are heading for going forward. And we will help the private entrepreneurs to correctly understand the commitment of the CPC to the private sector so that they can grasp the policies and make the best use of the dividend of these policies. On the other hand, we will educate the private entrepreneurs about the situation that we are facing both domestically and globally. We will help the private entrepreneurs to learn better about the obvious advantages of the Chinese political system and the national governance structure, and they will gain a better understanding about the overall positive fundamentals of the Chinese economy. And we will also let the private entrepreneurs to know that we are in a very good and positive legal environment, and we're going to improve the legal service framework of the All China Federation of Industry and Commerce. On a regular basis, we are going to fight against laws and the regulations that go against these principles. And we will also check the development of legislation to protect the legitimate rights and interests of entrepreneurs. And also, we are going to play a very sound role as the bridge of communication so that we can truly help those entrepreneurs to solve the problems that encounter. The All China Federation of Industry and Commerce will be a sound platform for communication between the government and the entrepreneurs, and this will become a permanent platform that can support routine communication between the government and entrepreneurs. And number four, do a good job of publicity. We're going to create a social environment that respects and supports for the private economy. And we will publicize the entrepreneurial spirit of the Chinese business. In the meantime, we're going to crack down those malicious slanders and smears against the private entrepreneurs. Thank you very much. Next question, please. I'm with the 21st Century Economic Reports. In this year's government work report, it was mentioned that we have to protect the property rights and ownership rights and the other legitimate rights and interests of the private entrepreneurs. And what measures do you have in this regard? Well, thank you very much for your question. For this question, the NDRC is working, the All China Federation of Industry and Commerce has established a communication channel with the Supreme People's Court and the NDRC. We have rolled out a number of summits, meetings, and forums for entrepreneurs to tap the potential of expanding the protection of rights and interests of private entrepreneurs. According to our survey amongst more than 10,000 entrepreneurs, our businessmen and women, they are very satisfied with our current legal environment for the private business. Over the years, we have provided sound support for private entrepreneurs safeguarding their own rights and interests. Going forward, we're going to strengthen our efforts in 5 key areas. Number one, we're going to launch a educational campaign on legality and the rule of law. We would guide private entrepreneurs to boost and increase their legal awareness, their concept awareness, and also their credibility in complying with the contract. And number two, we're going to strengthen the rule of law environment by working together with the judicial system and the legal framework. We aim at better protecting the rights and interests of private entrepreneurs. The joint mechanism between the All-China Federation of Industry and Commerce and other stakeholders would be strengthened. And number three, we're going to do a better job in guiding compliance amongst private entrepreneurs. And we will roll out a third-party compliance mechanism. We guide enterprises to build up their own compliance systems so that we can prevent corruption from the source or at the root. Number four, we're going to do a better job in business dispute arbitrations by improving and optimizing the legal environment and by leveraging the role of the commerce chambers, and we will do a better job in settling the disputes between entrepreneurs. And number five, we're going to support innovation of enterprises by working with other departments. We're going to do a better job in awareness campaigns for IPR protection, and we would also launch such campaigns such as Standards Innovation Week and Standards Innovation competitions. Next question, please. Thank you very much. We have rolled out a great number of policies. So what additional measures does the NDRC have to boost the healthy development of the private sector? Well, thank you very much for your question. Number one, we need to create a sound legal environment and protect their property rights and other related rights. On the other hand, private sector has to engage in innovation and constantly reform wherever they can in terms of supporting the private enterprise. According to the working opinion released yesterday, we have to stabilize the expectations and support the enterprises to operate in a legal manner. And we would protect the legal and legitimate rights of private entrepreneurs. We're also going to improve the judicial system for the private sector. In so doing, we are going to protect the innovation of small and medium-sized enterprises. The complaint submission system would also be enhanced. In boosting the healthy development of the private sector, the document yesterday vowed to improve the management system in China. We encourage enterprises to put in place a socialist corporate management structure with Chinese characteristics. And we also support the digital transformation of private enterprises so that they can improve their international competitive edge and expand the global market. And we also support the private sector to be part of China's key national strategies and initiatives so that they can maybe move to the West and embrace carbon peak and carbon neutrality and help get engaged in the rural revitalization national strategy. And we also support the legal and law-based development of the private enterprise. And we hope that the private economy can do a better job in expanding their international market. According to the working opinion released yesterday, we're going to put in place a number of educational and awareness-related and legal measures to create a sound environment for the private economy. The training and education system for private entrepreneurs would be optimized so that this innovative spirit amongst entrepreneurs can be passed down from generation to generation. And we also encourage for a government-enterprise relationship that is characterized by affinity, polarity, and legality, as well as integrity. The NDRC has recently established a long-term communication mechanism with the private economy. You have read it from the news. Zheng Shanjie, the minister of NDRC, has been sitting down with private enterprises for 3 weeks consecutively. And this will become a routine practice. And also the head and director generals of different divisions of the NDRC have been sitting down with private enterprises, and we are listening to the views and feedbacks of the private entrepreneurs. I myself have been to many of such meetups. So we truly hope that we can help the private economy to solve the problems that the entrepreneurs encounter. Thank you very much. I'm with the Zhejiang Daily. The small and medium-sized enterprises, as well as macro-sized economies, they are the key actor in innovation. So what measures do we have to promote the innovation of SMEs and MMEs? Thank you very much for your question. 99% of the private enterprises are small and medium-sized enterprises. So small and medium-sized enterprises, they are the key driving force of innovation, and they are the front runner of innovation and creativity of the Chinese economy. The Ministry of Industry and Information will engage in the following efforts. Number 1, improve the overall capacity of innovation. So we would support the development of small and specialized enterprises. And to this day, we have cultivated 5 batches of special high-tech specialized enterprises, and more than 15,000 of them are little giants, and more than 90,000 enterprises are at the provincial level. Take, for example, the program of Little Giants. In recent years, they have contributed a total of more than 140,000 patents. In the first half of this year, these little giants, they have seen a revenue growth and profitability growth larger than enterprises above designated sites. The second is to support coordinated and collaborative innovation. We are working together with other departments to support joint and shared collaboration and collaborative innovation amongst enterprises. And we have the 1,000 strong program for innovation, and we support big enterprises and small ones and medium-sized enterprises to work closely together to jointly engage in innovation. Through these 2 campaigns, we have set up a platform for communication, for exchanges, and for service sharing. Number 3, improve the innovation empowering and capacity through digital empowering and the brand empowering. We aim at accelerate the pace of commercialization of technologies so that small and medium-sized enterprises, they can take the benefit of such technological commercialization. In so doing, they can also expand their market coverage enhance their market influence and cultivate comprehensive competitive edges on the market. And going forward, the Ministry of Industry and Information will further support the innovation-driven development of enterprises. And we're going to single out a number of examples to improve the overall development quality of enterprises. And we have already completed 5 batches of cultivation efforts, rolling out a great number of little giant enterprises. And we are currently working on another document, which is the opinions on strengthening SMEs, so that we hope that we can strengthen their brand and improve their overall competitiveness. And also, we want to form a collective force of innovation. Large enterprises and research organizations, they will help build a platform of innovation so that demand and needs, technology and markets can be matched, so that everybody can gain something from this collaboration. Another effort is to further strengthen the Maker China campaign, so that we can gather more resources of innovation and empower the high-quality development of small and medium-sized enterprises. Next question, please. And with first financial news, according to the working opinion, we're going to further optimize the policy measures. So, what specific measures has the Ministry of Industry and Information done in this regard? Well, thank you very much for your question, and we pay close attention to SMEs. In recent years, we're working together with other departments to support SME financing. Number one, expand the indirect financing. We guide the banking sector and the financial institutions to expand their credit support for SMEs. And we have extended, for example, credit-based loans and medium and long-term loans. And for 6 consecutive years, we're working together with the Ministry of Finance to subsidize the loan interest of SMEs. As of June 2023, the outstanding loan of SMEs is 27 trillion RMB, which is 26.1% year-on-year, which is 29.1% higher year-on-year. If you look at the other enterprises, the SMEs, they actually have a loan expansion rate that is 9.1 percentage point wider. In 9 cities of Zhejiang, we have piloted some new programs of specialized high-tech companies. A number of roadshows have been carried out to help SMEs to do a better job in financing. And we also worked out a list of enterprises where our program can benefit. As of June 2023, a number of more than 1,400 small and specialized high-tech companies, they have become listed companies on the Asia market. Between January and June 2023, more than 120 enterprises have become listed companies amongst this group. So you can see that the overall competitiveness of the small and specialized high-tech companies are doing very good. And we also aim at enhancing government support. We try to encourage social capital to come into this field to invest in startups. As of the end of June, the National SME Fund has set up 31 sub-funds, totaling more than 90 billion yuan. Going forward, the Ministry of Industry and Information will work out some financing support measures, and we're also going to cultivate more enterprises, SMEs in particular, to become public companies, and constantly enhance our support for SMEs, and we support SMEs to become competitive players on the market so that they can play their part in stabilizing and strengthening the global supply chain and industrial chain. Next question, please. Thank you very much. The overall competitiveness of the private sector still has some gaps. So how do we support the high-quality growth of the private sector? Thank you very much for your question. Boosting their internal strength is the key for competitiveness. According to Xi Jinping, the private sector has to follow the new development paradigm. We need to analyze into the difficulties that they encounter, but they need to transform the way that they grow, and they need to shift the gears, and they need to engage in the Chinese real economy and take the path of high-quality development. The All-China Federation of Industry and Commerce will earnestly follow the new development paradigm, take the initiative to build a new development pattern and support the private sector in their high-quality development program. And this will become a key priority of our job. Going forward, we're going to focus on the following efforts. In terms of innovation-driven development, we're going to empower the enterprises and private enterprises in particular, and we're going to roll out a number of innovation bases and industrial parks. We will also deepen the digital transformation campaign for the private sector. We will also hold out the private entrepreneurs innovation workshop. Through a number of measures, we aim at improving the overall competitiveness of private entrepreneurs. We're also going to strengthen the coordination of private sector and local governments. Going forward, we are going to work together with the local government to hold out some economic and trade fairs. To give you one example, we will have a major meeting in Henan and Liaoning, as well as Shandong, highlighting the important contributions played by the private sector to the social and economic development of those localities. And we're also going to hold out campaigns and meetings to highlight how the private economy promotes the overall development of Southeast Asia. In green development, a couple of days ago, we have held the Green and Low Carbon Development Forum for SMEs and private sector. We studied one alliance, and we have introduced a number of best practices. Going forward, we would encourage low carbon and green development of the private enterprises so that they can truly gain a deep understanding about low carbon and green development and engage in green transformation. In terms of openness, we are going to prevent risks and empower the private enterprises with policies so that the private economies, they can also be part of the Belt and Road Initiative and they can go global. Private enterprises would be organized in some of the international exchanges and communication activities. We would also educate amongst private enterprises about how to guard against risks and external risks in particular, and we would tell the good story of how private enterprises engage in the Belt and Road Initiative. And we would also do a good job in telling the story of how private enterprises stabilize employment. And at the same time, we're going to bring the private enterprises to the countryside to empower rural revitalization and the common prosperity initiative of the country. Last question, please. Thank you very much. So specific measures have been rolled out to improve the private sector, and my question is directed to the NDRC. How will you grasp the key orientations of this new policy? Well, thank you very much for your question. Well, now we have the working opinion already, and the NDRC will follow through the requirement of the CPC Central Committee and State Council. We're going to put this working document on the ground by focusing on the following 4 areas of efforts. Number 1, we're going to improve the accountability system. The communication mechanism between government and private enterprises would be established. We would strengthen the communication between local government and the private enterprises. The local government, they have to follow up and come up with more specific regulations and documents and make sure that these measures are put on the ground so as to increase the benefit to the private enterprises. Number 2, we're going to track the enforcement of these documents, and we would carry out regular and dynamic tracking of the documents so that we can learn the feedbacks amongst enterprises, and also we're going to put in place subsequent and additional measures if necessary. And number 3, enhance our guidance and supervision efforts, and we will focus on the intellectual property rights protection and also the cultivation of entrepreneurial spirits. And we're also going to improve the complaint submission and reporting mechanism for the protection of the rights of private enterprises. So the real and substantial measures, they will truly play a role. And number 4, we're going to do a good job in publicity. We will tell a good story of entrepreneurs and the private sector so as to create a social atmosphere that is supportive to the private sector. And the private sector is supporting the overall social and economic development of the country, and this must be told in the public domain. And I have to thank all of you for coming here, and thank you very much for covering the 31-point policy, and we hope that you can scale up your efforts so that our good policies can be learned and heard and felt by all the entrepreneurs in China, so that we can work together to put on these policies on the ground so that we can jointly enhance the high-quality development of the private economy, and in so doing, we can drive the high-quality development of the Chinese economy. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much to all the presenters, and thank you all to the journalists. And this is the end of today's press release. Thank you very much.